Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zooming in on this profound tension between destiny and choice. We're exploring those really acute pivot point moments in life.
The ones where the path forward just splits and you are absolutely forced to commit.
Right. And our sources for this deep dive are truly unique. We've merged insights from a highly specific astrological reading, one focused on karmic alignment, and a really complex science fiction narrative.
It's called the luminous divergence.
Exactly. And they might seem worlds apart, one dealing with the ancient cosmos, the other with 25th century tech.
But they both converge on the exact same philosophical truth.
That convergence is our focus today.
Yeah, our mission is to find that common thread. We're looking for the precise moment of divergence where the known historical patterns of our past, they just collide head-on with the untested path of the future.
It's about understanding that high-stakes environment where fate, I guess, hands you the pen, and you suddenly have to write what comes next. And to set the stage, the cosmic reading gives us a specific framework for this critical moment. It's called the Sun Square Lunar Nodes. Now, for those less steeped in celestial mechanics, that phrase sounds incredibly daunting.
It does sound weighty.
So based on the source material, what does this alignment fundamentally signify about choice and fate?
Well, it is weighty. The lunar nodes in astrology, they fundamentally represent our karmic axis. So the south node is our inherited past, or our habits, our comfort zone.
The default setting.
The default setting, exactly. And the north node is our necessary evolution, our future direction. So when the sun, which represents our conscious self or illumination, when it forms a square, it creates friction, a real tension.
So if the sun is shining a conscious light on our momentum, is this alignment basically forcing a spotlight directly onto our ingrained patterns and habits?
Precisely. The reading describes this as a critical point in time where karmic lessons and completions come to fruition. You're not allowed to cruise anymore.
I see.
You get this significant illumination on your historical patterns, the self-sabotaging loops, the relationships that repeat, the professional ceilings you keep hitting. It's the universe giving you an undeniable choice. Release the old script or get stuck repeating the scene.
So that sets the foundation. We have this philosophical conflict, this dynamic between what we know and what we must become. And this is where we pivot into the future. Because the source material demands we look at how humanity tried to eliminate that exact moment of choice.
Right. They tried to engineer it out of existence.
Let's transition to the world of the luminous divergence. We're talking the year 2401. This is a highly controlled technological future where certainty is the greatest commodity.
It's a fascinating and kind of terrifying dystopia of total predictability. The narrative describes the sky itself as not a natural canvas, but a massive lattice of engineered constellations.
Engineered constellations?
Yeah. Every star you see is a functioning data node, and the entire sky is a living archive, constantly recording, updating, and predicting.
Wow. And if you can engineer the stars to be data nodes, I guess you can certainly engineer human potential.
And that's where the core mechanism of control comes in. It's the life trajectory.
The sci-fi version of destiny?
Exactly. The life trajectory is described as a shimmering imprint. It's a physical, luminous strand mapped in the air above every single individual.
And for most people.
For almost everyone, this strand flows smoothly, right along the established lines of their designated futures. Imagine the psychological cost of knowing your future is not just predictable, but it's charted for everyone to see.
That sounds stifling. There's no mystery, no room for any real deviation.
It's a system designed to prevent the very critical point in time that the cosmic alignment signals. It removes the potential for the individual to evolve beyond the system's parameters.
But then we meet Astra Ven.
And here's the irony. Her job. She works in the Ministry of Temporal Cartography, charting everyone else's destinies with, as the source calls it, flawless precision.
So the cartographer herself is the flaw in the map.
She is the central paradox. Her own personal trajectory was unstable, flickering with irregular pulses that no algorithm could decode. She's the one data point that refuses to conform.
The point of true internal uncertainty in a world that guarantees external certainty.
And that instability has to lead somewhere.
Which leads us directly to the moment of acute divergence. And the source material describes this physical event so dramatically. It begins in those engineered heavens. The artificial sun above the city, usually this steady, predictable beacon, suddenly flared brighter than anyone remembered. And it split into two distinct overlapping disks, One was brilliant gold, the other a stark, sterile white.
And the authorities, of course, they rush to maintain control. They call it a rare atmospheric anomaly.
Of course, but the citizens, and especially Astra, they felt that energetic ripple.
For her, that atmospheric split was the external sign of her internal war. The system couldn't contain her uncertainty anymore.
And her own life trajectory.
It just violently erupted into the air. The description is incredible. It looked like a holographic serpent. Two distinct, shimmering lines twisting tightly around each other. Neither line would retreat, and neither could dominate the other.
So it's a perfect pressurized stalemate.
It's a visual manifestation of that sun-square lunar nodes, but happening inside a human being.
And the system, for all its algorithms, could only define this conflict in the most human terms. It was a battle between the self she knew, the dutiful cartographer, the stable element, and the one she was meant to become.
The uncharted potential.
Her future wasn't just passively unclear anymore, it was demanding a seismic choice. Right now.
It's terrifying, because it's a system built on maintenance and control suddenly facing a rupture. A rupture that demands radical personal change. When certainty breaks down like that, the stakes are instantly raised.
And that's why she's immediately summoned to the very heart of the system.
The Archive Citadel.
Right. And the description of this place is so crucial. It's a monolith of living crystal. And inside, glowing panels display all of humanity's intertwined timelines, branching and folding like luminous mycelium.
That mycelium image is key. It reminds us that no destiny happens in a vacuum. Every choice she makes affects the entire branching network of humanity's past and future. It's a visual history of possibility.
And it's here she meets the Elder Archivist. He's kind of the voice of cosmic truth within this technological framework.
He gives her the cold, hard diagnosis, acute divergence, a critical alignment, and he makes that philosophical link for her, echoing the cosmic reading.
What does he say?
He says this only happens when a person reaches the threshold of an old pattern and must step onto an untested path. The moment comfort is no longer possible, growth becomes mandatory.
The system sees the necessity of evolution, but it clearly doesn't encourage it. This choice must be agonizing. And Astra asks the inevitable question, and if I don't choose?
And the archivist's response is the chilling heart of this source material. It is a true high-stakes warning. He says, then the system chooses for you, and it rarely chooses mercy.
Wow. That statement holds so much weight. It tells us that inaction is not neutral.
No.
Inaction is a choice to let the default mechanisms of history, the old patterns, the inherited limitations take over. And the system, which is designed for maintenance, it chooses rigidity over fulfillment.
Absolutely. The default path is always the one of least resistance, which in a controlled environment means staying small. And to illustrate the stakes, the archivist projects a simulation, a swirling sphere of light showing her potential futures, clearly divided into those two versions of Astra.
Let's break these futures down, because this is really the core choice we all face. What did the simulation show on the side of comfort and stability?
It showed the version of Astra who was dutiful and unchanging, orbiting familiar routines. This is the predictable version, the one who maintains the status quo. It promises stability, safety, and the continuation of the known.
But wait, why is that depicted so negatively? I mean, isn't there inherent value in stability and routines? The sources seem to frame comfort as a trap.
And that's the critical tension the source explores. The stability is valuable, yes, but only up to the point where it prevents necessary evolution. Once you hit that karmic threshold, that sun-square lunar nodes moment remaining dutiful to the old pattern becomes a form of self-betrayal. The system and the cosmos, they're demanding more.
And the other future? The untested path.
That version of Astra was wandering into vast unknowns, breaking codes, rewriting maps. This is the path that requires her active agency. It promises risk, uncertainty, but also mastery over her own life, moving beyond the programming of 2401.
The archivist sums up the entire conflict perfectly. He distills thousands of years of karmic tension into just 8 words.
One path holds comfort, the other holds evolution.
It's the battle between inherited identity and potential identity.
And that's the battle Astra has to win right now, facing the weight of everything that led her here.
Now for the climactic moment. Astra steps forward. The sources describe her experiencing this immense pressure, the cumulative force of every past decision, every inherited story, every learned limitation pressing down on her.
That's the South Node energy, the baggage of the self she knew demanding her allegiance. But juxtaposed against that oppressive weight is the pull of the self, unfiltered by fear. The version of her loyal only to truth and possibility.
It's a moment of perfect self-confrontation, her entire history versus her potential future.
And the choice is finally made.
Mm.
A declaration that breaks the stalemate.
She chooses growth.
She does. Her final declaration is so clear, it just cuts through the pressure of the past. She says, I choose the path that requires me to grow. This is the ultimate act of aligning with her North Node. She stops letting the patterns dictate the future and actively dictates the future pattern.
And the immediate external result of this internal clarity is spectacular. For a single breath of time, those duplicate suns, the gold and the white, they align perfectly, casting the entire city into a double shadow.
That double shadow. It's maybe the most profound metaphor in the whole story. It's that instant of perfect balance, the simultaneous existence of the two possible selves, right before the choice is irrevocably made.
It symbolizes the successful resolution of that difficult square alignment.
Bringing the two conflicting forces into alignment. And as that happens, Astra's personal life trajectory resolves itself instantly. It rewrites itself into a single radiant line surging forward with clarity she had never known. The divergence is over.
All of that external chaos, the two suns, the flickering paths, it all resolved because of an internal commitment to evolution.
She reconciled her past lessons, her inherited stories and limitations by committing to an entirely new future path.
And the final image is just wonderful. It grounds this immense cosmic choice back to personal reality. When Astra stepped out of the Citadel, the source notes that the city felt new. Not because the engineered environment had changed.
But simply because she finally had. The external world only truly shifts when our internal clarity changes.
That's the ultimate lesson, isn't it? Linking these two sources. The true challenge of a critical point in time is not just recognizing that a choice exists, but having the courage to select the path of evolution, even when the alternative offers all the tempting comfort of familiarity.
I think so.
Yeah.
And the sci-fi narrative really reinforces the karmic reading. The greatest obstacles to our growth, they aren't external fate or some grand cosmic power.
It's those self-imposed limitations, the inherited stories and learned patterns we carry forward just out of habit.
The luminous divergence is less about external destiny and far more about achieving a radical internal clarity.
We have to give proper weight to history and past patterns, of course. They build the environment of the choice.
But a power resides entirely in the present moment, where you choose which version of yourself to move forward with. Comfort maintains, evolution creates. And that choice is yours alone.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to consider. If your own life trajectory suddenly became visible right now, the stable routines you follow versus the untested, uncertain path that demands growth, what kind of double shadow would your decision cast?
If comfort is the easy path and evolution is the hard one, which one are you currently choosing simply by letting the system run on autopilot? Think about the inherited stories you're still telling yourself. Identify those old patterns that are making your own trajectory flicker.
Thank you for diving deep with us into the geometry of destiny and choice. We'll see you next time.